Want to make your renders more realistic? Here are my tips and tricks. The first rule when it comes to geometry is to have beveled edges. There are no perfectly sharp edges in the real world. But why is this so important? Let's see here. If I enable the chamfer, you can see how many highlights appear on the beveled edges. This is something we see in the real world as well. Just take a look at these interior photos. This will bring a lot of detail to our renders. Also, we logically need highly detailed objects with good chamfers and topology. Poor geometry can ruin the realism really fast. If we switch the sofa here with a low poly model without much detail or chamfers, you will notice that the image immediately changes and the eye catches that something is off. Luckily, Chaos Cosmos offers a huge variety of highly detailed models that you can easily import directly into your scene. Usually we want to show more of the space, and when we can't move the camera back, we start widening the field of view. However, this warps the perspective. Round objects look stretched, and foreground objects appear artificially large compared to the background, making the image look immediately unnatural. The human eye usually perceives space at around a 50mm focal length, which equals a field of view of about 40 in 3ds Max. To fix this, we can move the camera back, behind the walls, and activate clipping. Now, we can keep the field of view around 40, making the image look much more believable just by using the right lens and correcting the perspective. In interiors, we often want to focus on some of the details, and in those cases, we need to think more like a photographer. Just moving the camera close to the object isn't optimal, and you can see that a wide field of view doesn't work for portrait shots. In professional photography, for such close-ups, we would choose a lens starting from 50 to 100mm. So instead of moving the camera closer, we can increase the focal length to narrow the view. Another thing that is commonly used for close-ups is the depth of field, where we blur the background to draw attention to the object. Once enabled, this effect becomes instantly visible due to the long focal length, but to increase it even further, we can decrease the f-number of the lens. Now, by combining the right camera lens with that photographic effect, the final image looks much more like a close-up shot taken by a professional photographer. A wrong material scale will immediately tell the brain that something is off in the image, so using real-world scale is always helpful. I don't strictly follow texture dimension numbers. In most cases, we just need to pay close attention and make sure that the textures aren't too big or too small for our project. Another thing that is usually underestimated is that in the real world, there are no objects without reflections. That is why we need reflections on all of them, even on the walls. Some will be matte, others will be almost like mirrors, but no material is without them. These reflections will also highlight the chamfers we were talking about at the beginning. In addition, all materials have different levels of glossiness, so utilizing reflection glossiness or roughness is essential to break up the stereo look and avoid an artificially perfect appearance in your renders. In the real world, nothing is perfectly clean, so adding imperfections like scratches and fingerprints drastically increases realism. It is really easy to achieve these things just by adding or mixing the reflection glossiness texture with a scratch or fingerprint matte. Nowadays, I usually generate them with AI, which makes the whole process incredibly fast. Also, when working with tiles, adding some slight diversity in their color nuances can be very helpful. At the end of the day, these tiny details easily break that stereo look and make the image feel much more natural. Lighting is probably the most important aspect of an interior render. Let's take a look at this scene. We have a sun with an increased size for softer shadows and a few additional lights inside the room. Opening light mix, we can see that the primary light in the scene comes from the sun and sky. Then, we have the secondary lights that bring life to the image. Keep in mind that it's a good idea to maintain a light hierarchy and not make these secondary lights too intensive. Otherwise, the image may start looking too even. and we want the main light to clearly come from the windows. We can also use lights with even less intensity to highlight specific objects, as well as some artificial lights. When using artificial lights, it's highly recommended to control their color using the temperature option with kelvins. In the real world, you can check most light bulbs to see their Kelvin rating, so this approach keeps your colors much closer to real life. 6500 kelvins represents pure white, and reducing that number will give you a warmer light. Exactly how warm that light should be is entirely up to your personal taste, of course. These tips will give you more realism, but remember, we are artists and composition is just as important. I've left a link in the description to a video about composition. See you in the next one.